Hello, good morning, federal employees, ladies and gentlemen. It is so good to have you again today. Today we're going to jump right into our topic, and that is Social Security and being taxed twice for Social Security. So today is going to be a great topic. Again, my name is Dallen Haws. I'm a financial planner helping federal employees retire confident. So, Social Security. Many people think, hey, Social Security is taxable? What? I didn't know that, right? That's the first reaction I often get when talking about how Social Security works in retirement. And it depends, of course, on your other income sources in retirement, and that will determine how much of your Social Security is taxable. But if you didn't know, a good portion of it, especially for federal employees that have pensions, that have TSPs, a good portion of your Social Security surely will be taxable. For those on the lower end of the income scale, maybe a lesser portion, but for many federal employees, a very good portion of your Social Security will in fact be taxable. But let's get into today's meat, today's topic, and really dig in. And that is, are you taxed twice on your Social Security benefits? And let me give you some context. So, every paycheck, you pay money into the Social Security system in a few different forms. About 6.2% of your pay is paid in for Social Security, and that money is paid with after-tax dollars. So you don't get a tax deduction, you don't get anything tax-wise in the year that you contribute into Social Security. So that's the first part where you are taxed on that money. Boom, right? We know that happens. But let's give a little background into Social Security and when this whole taxation thing started. So in the first decades of the Social Security program operating, there was no taxes being paid on benefits in retirement. That was not a thing. But come the 1980s, about the early 1980s, the program was severely underfunded, meaning there was not going to be enough money to pay out the benefits that they had promised. So a lot of people had to come up with some solutions to make sure there was more money going into the system. And one of these grand solutions was to make a portion of Social Security benefits taxable. And at that point, when they made this change, only up to 50% of Social Security benefits could be taxable. And this is kind of the reasoning behind that, is because for every dollar that you contribute into the Social Security system as a first federal employee, your employer, your agency, also contributes a dollar into the program, right? You put in 6.2% of your pay, as well as your employer puts the other 50%, right? And so Social Security said, hey, you technically only paid taxes on your portion of your contribution to the system, but this other portion that was put into the system for you by your employer, taxes were never paid on that, right? So in retirement, up to 50% of your benefit can be taxable, right? So now let's fast forward all the way up till today. So as many of you know, up to 85% of your Social Security benefits can be taxable today, right? So what changed? Well, in about 1993, right in there, early 90s, there was another change where someone started running some numbers and said, hey, actually, if we run the numbers, most people only contribute about 15% into the system that they actually get out in retirement. So, for example, let's say that over the course of your entire retirement, the average retiree, this is of course a lot lower than it actually will be, but let's say it was 100 grand. Let's say they ran the numbers and said, hey, the average retiree gets about $100,000 of benefits in retirement. According to those numbers, that means that the average retiree only put in about $15,000. So about 15% of what they actually were going to get in retirement is what they contributed. So based on that logic, they said, hey, we are going to, in some cases, for those that have higher incomes in retirement, we're going to make it up to 85% of your Social Security benefits to be taxable in retirement. So that is how we got here today. But now let's address the question again. Is Social Security taxed twice, right? That is the question that we definitely want to hit. And the answer is most of the time not, but sometimes it is. And I'm not going to run you through all the numbers because you really have to kind of crunch a lot of numbers to kind of see how this actually works, and it gets kind of complicated. But basically, I'll summarize it for you. If during your career you had higher than average income, you earned more than the average worker, right? And then in retirement, you had higher than average income and 85% of your Social Security benefits were taxable, and you lived long enough so you actually got quite a bit of money out of the system. If all those things kind of happen, then there's going to be a portion of your benefits that you actually technically pay taxes on twice, right? Because you paid in a certain amount during your career, and then during your retirement, you are paying taxes on up to 85%, while only a portion of that you didn't pay taxes on. So if you kind of run all the numbers and you're above average earner for all of those scenarios and you live a decently long time, then there will be a small portion where you pay taxes twice. Good news is a lot of people really don't have to deal with that, but there definitely are those that do, right? The joys of earning more than average, right? You got to love it. So now what, right? I guess why do we bring this up in the first place? And with most topics, it's about knowing, okay, what are the rules so I can make an educated decision, right? Whatever you paid into the system, oftentimes that's history, right? Especially for those that are about to retire. It's like, okay, whatever I pay in the system, okay, I can't change that. And even if you are still working, you can't change how much you pay into the Social Security system. But what you can do is to educate yourself on, okay, what is my benefit going to look like in retirement? And what is that going to look like after I pay taxes on it? And how does taxes work, right? So that is the question that you have to ask yourself. Is for me, what income am I going to have in retirement, and how does taxes play a part? Because how your Social Security benefits are taxed, it changes depending on what other income you have, whether it's your pension, your TSP, and the more income you have outside your Social Security, the much higher likelihood that is going to be taxable, up to 85% in retirement. And just by knowing that, so you could run your real retirement numbers and have a real idea of what you're going to have after taxes, after reductions, after everything that you can actually spend on your retirement adventures. Those are the numbers that we really, really want to see. Your net numbers and not your gross numbers. So I hope that was interesting. I hope you guys have a phenomenal rest of your day, and I will see you next time.